Kwekskina, hello everyone. My name is Alexandre Nequado. I'm here with my colleague André Dudemaine. This is the 101st episode of a podcast with Roxann Whitebean, who will be joining us shortly. So should be with us later. But I think André has some news to announce.
Well, just to first say hello to everybody, and yes, we have some news. We are preparing the 21st of June ceremony that will take place for the National Aboriginal Day in the old port of Montreal on the Quai de l'Horloge. So at noon on the Quai de l'Horloge, June 21st, we will light the traditional fire that connect the earth and the sky. The sun will be at its most higher place of the year, and the fire on the earth connect us with that astronomical phenomenon with elders from Kahnawà for Tobago ceremony, and there will be art also. We'll have a concert, a small concert by Shawit, and many important persons that will welcome the crowd and have their official speech for the day. So save the day, June 21st, jour national des peuples autochtones, sur le quai de l'Horloge dans le Vieux-Port de Montréal. À midi, c'est une... this is a tradition. Millennial tradition, but also a tradition for Terres en Vue, who has been we have been the first to organize official ceremony, June 21st in the town outside the communities, and in Montreal, obviously. Montreal has been the first of all the towns in Canada to celebrate June 21st. It was in 1995. Mayor Bourque was the mayor of Montreal at this time, and he was very supportive of Aboriginal cause, and and he was also very willing to see Aboriginal cultures to find their place in the city. So he came, when he was mayor, he came each 21st of June with us to have a special ceremony. And we have to remember Mayor Bourque. We think that it is very recent that we have all the recognition in Montreal. It is in some way, but the Mayor Bourque has been in the vanguard. It was the first to recognize the importance of Aboriginal cultures. And he was the one also that supported the celebration of the tricentennial of the Great Peace of 1701. And he pushed to have the opening of the First Nations Garden within the Botanical Garden of Montreal, who was part of the scientific institution of the city, and effectively the First Nations Garden has opened in 2001 to mark the support of the city for the when we were commemorating the great peace of 1701. So that's we are still waiting for our guest, Roxann Whitebean, who is a filmmaker from Kahnawà, and important one. She has done a lot of work in those recent years. Most of them, what she has done in cinema has been shown in the theaters, in many festivals, and obviously in Montreal First Peoples Festival, Présence Autochtone. We have screened her works, and we hope we know that she's working right now. She has a lot on the editing table, and we hope that in the next festival we will be able to screen brand new work. Who knows? The festival will take place from August 8th in Montreal, August 8th to August 17th. We have already published the visual of the festival, right? This will be the base for our communication and the poster, obviously. And on it, we can see a young Aboriginal spinning in the air with a hand drum in his arm, and running, flying, I should say, on a skateboard. And this represents the energy of the youth of our nations, taking back the culture, represented here by the drum, and letting in the background to be not to be forgotten, but certainly to be let behind us the colonial period and all its consequence. So here represented by the statue of the monument of Johnny MacDonald that has been torn down by anti-colonial protesters a few years ago. So we have the stand of the statue that is still there, but without the first Prime Minister of Canada that is fallen on the ground. And this is the allegory, the allegorical figure that will be on the poster of Montreal First Peoples Festival around the city in August. And we have put different artistic discipline that we can find in the festival. This is a multidisciplinary festival, so we have concerts, cinema, literature, and visual arts. And of course, on the poster, there will be more information. We are working on the program. It's going well, and there will be probably one announced pretty soon. Do we have news Okay, she will be there in 5 minutes. Alexandre, it's your turn.
Maybe I can ask you. We will do another ceremony of sunrise on the 21st.
Yes, this take place in this one will take place at 5 o'clock in the morning. of course, this is the longest day of the year, June 21st. So the sun rise very soon and will go down pretty late also. And this is an invitation. If some persons would like to join this, I would say, more spiritual ceremony. The one on the Quai de l'Horloge is more public ceremony where everybody is welcome, but we want to keep the quieter tone on this rising sun ceremony in the First Nations garden. And you can write to us and ask if you wish to be there, but we want to limit the number of persons that are there to keep it more personal as an experience. And but yes, it will take place. And also, I can announce I think it's will be a brand new a scoop for Rue Adadegen. We will have a show at the Grande Bibliothèque in the auditorium, June 20th. And it will be a show by Jocelyn Sioui, who is a dramaturgist, an author, now a pretty well-known performer on different stages and theater in Montreal. And the show we call Frétillant et Agile. This is a traditional story told by Jocelyn Sioui with music, and it will be free. And there will be in a couple of weeks. How do you call it? The program where we register to go to a show.
Register?
Oui, où on prend nos billets.
La billetterie. Comment on dit ça?
Et on sait pas, ça, en tout cas. You can have your tickets by internet. It will be announced in a couple of weeks for June 20th by night. It will be part of the celebration of the National Aboriginal Day in Montreal, and we are really proud. It is a work in progress. Jocelyn is working on a pretty ambitious presentation of Frétillant et Agile, and it will be a big production, but it is a work in progress. He is including now music, and later on puppets and screenings. But we will have the first development toward this big production, this bigger production, and it will be free for everybody who wish to be with us by the evening of June 20th at the Grande Bibliothèque in the auditorium, beautiful auditorium of the Grande Bibliothèque. And this is an opportunity to give thanks to Bibliothèque et Archives nationales du Québec, the institution that run the Grande Bibliothèque in Montreal. We have really, really good partnership with them, and they are really, really willing to give a place to Aboriginal culture. And actually, they have hired a new person to be responsible for Aboriginal programming, Maya Molen Cousino, who is a poet and a writer from the Innu Nation. And for her last book, she won the award of the Governor General, which is very prestigious in Canada. So she is now working at the Grande Bibliothèque, and we are really happy to see how the Aboriginal program is evolving in that important institution in Montreal. Actually, I think it's the place that has the cultural venue in Montreal that has the bigger frequentation. I think they have, I don't remember, 4,000, 5,000 person a day that transit goes to the Grande Bibliothèque, or for the book, or for the exhibition, or for the different activities in the auditorium.
Last year, we got some screenings with Cœur Battant, with Arthur Lamotte.
Well, it wasn't the Cinémathèque, but in the Grande Bibliothèque, what we started last year is in the Médiathèque, which is a screening room on the second floor. We have, and we will still do it this year. We have also, we award a prize, the APTN award, APTN Aboriginal People's Television Network, that is also a partner of the Terres en Vue in the festival. And amongst the, in the framework of this partnership, APTN provide a prize for a Canadian Aboriginal filmmaker that have had a special accomplishment during the last year before the festival. And we all the, well, it is a film. Usually this is a film, I think Catherine Boivin, the Atikamekw filmmaker, with her film that is going to Cannes Film Festival. Wow, fantastic. Produced by the Wapikoni Mobile. And this will be one of the nominees for the APTN award. And of course, several other films and TV series. And this is a recognition for a work that has had impact during the last year. And all the nominees will be the film that are on the list, the short list to receive APTN award, will be screened in the Médiathèque, the screening room of the Grande Bibliothèque during the festival. So this is another collaboration we have with Bibliothèque et Archives Nationales du Québec. And also this is free. This is first come, first seated. It's not a big room. I think this is a 30%, 30 seats. So it's good to check the calendar to arrive in time if you want to be sure to have a seat, because last year it was most of the screening were full house. So it arises a lot of interest.
I wonder if you can talk about some scoop about 6 saisons des Atikamekw. Is it too soon to talk about it?
No, surely no. Another partner of the festival is the Cinémathèque Québécoise. Several times we have co-presented films and screenings at the Cinémathèque. And especially, I know you are well aware of that, because it is your community that is concerned. We have screened the beautiful documentary now. We could say a classical documentary of the Québécois indigenous cinema, Les 6 saisons Atikamekw. And now we know that the Cinémathèque, they have funding to digitalize some of their archives. We have to remember that not so far ago, all the films were made on pellicule, on films. Films were made on film. Yes, that's why it's called film, actually, and not video or numeric images. And now to be seen, it's better if we can have a numerized version of the film. And so the Cinémathèque handpick, cherry pick a few major work to be digitalized. And I know Les 6 saisons Atikamekw are amongst the one that will go through that process this year. So it's a good news, because it will give the possibility to have copies for the communities. Maybe you can explain how important it is for you, this film, and how it was received by the several persons from Nanwan that came to the screening at the Cinémathèque last year.
Yeah, I remember one of our elders. There was a group of elders that came to see the movies. I think at that time when they did the movies, they were like in their 20s. So now they're like in late 70s, late 60s. And one of them cried during the screening, because she said, like, it's really sad that we don't see any more of those cultural practice, because everyone, no one do the traditional hunting, and we don't eat as much as a game that we used to. And she told me that we need to see these movies in our own communities, because it's very important for us to remember what we were and what we did to survive in the nature. So I think some of the members heard her crying, and that's why the Cinémathèque decided to digitize the movies, so everyone can watch the movies and learn from them.
It's also an opportunity for me to thank Pierre Jutras. Pierre has been, almost all his life working at the Cinémathèque, and is now retreated. And he is one of the person that has been very forceful to tell the Cinémathèque. Well, the direction was very open, and they listened, but he pushed really hard, telling you really have to digitalize Les 6 saisons Atikamekw. And I am telling it because Pierre is fighting a cancer right now. He has a hard time, and maybe we can have a thought for him right now, and especially that he was really, really strongly supportive of this idea that is now coming a reality. To have a numeric version of this saison.
Yeah, I asked you if it was possible to digitize the movies, and you told me that it could take years, at least 5 years, just to do this kind of work. And now, when you told me that it was well on the way to being digitized, and it'll be soon available to see the movies, I'm pretty sure that the three communities of Atikamek, Ubejon, and Wemontashi will be very happy to have these movies available for them. And I guess it's like a gift for other people, other nations that want to continue the work. I'm pretty sure it will inspire them to work to the preservation of our cultural identities.
Yeah, you were right. Certainly the presence of the members of the community, especially the elders, and the younger one too, that were obviously discovering the traditional life through the film, have been certainly a push to the Cinematheque to make the digitalization of the movie in the priority, and that's why they put it on the top of the list. So that's why it probably would have taken 5 or 6 years. It was the normal pace of the process, but with the screening and the reaction they got, they decided, thank you to Marcel Jean, the actual director of the Cinematheque, he put those movie in priority, in the top of the list. So they will be liberalized this year. That's fantastic. And also, do you think some of the technique could come back? I know that the peoples were really amazed to see the traditional way the maple were cut and the liquid taken in the bark continent. It was something very special to see.
I think it will inspire to go to the old practice, because we know that some young people are now doing hunting in a modern way, but it just take one videos to watch how our grandparents used to do it, and we just need one elder to teach us how to do it. And I know that some younger people are well aware of the lose that we are losing our practices, so they try to save it, and they try to practice it and learn it. I think as we grow up, we tend to keep the traditional way, but when you're young, we're always pulled by the modernity. And once we once we mature, I think we want to remember what we used to do. Mm.
And as you said, if some person were teenagers during that time, they are still alive, they certainly remember how to do things, because we can see that all the communities, young or old, everybody was working to those traditional activities, the skin of the animals, the furs, the meat, the fishing. Everybody was participating, and the film just demonstrate how beautifully and how efficace how those traditional techniques were working, and all ecological. I know there was no destruction of nature, but at the same time, in the narration, we can see that the loss of those traditions is looming, because in the narration they say that there is a lot of forestry. The forest is cut by the industry on the traditional land of the Atikamekw, and all the resources are not what they used to be, because the biological productivity of the territory was not the same, obviously, when you have large patches of the territory that has been cut down. There is not as much moose, beavers, and all other animals that are part of the alimentation and of the lifestyle of the Atikamekw nations traditionally.
Yeah. One of the elders said that in the movie, one of the elders said that there was an outbreak of tick on the moose population, and they were getting sicker by the years, and they said that it was because of the deforestation, because the moose need a healthy forest to be healthy, and where there's no forest, there'll be they'll get sicker. It'll be easier for them to get sick. So even in the 70s, they were well aware of the damage that was being done by the deforestation, and now they were hoping that things will get better, but I think I think it didn't happen, and the deforestation still happens, and the practices change also. So that's why we don't eat as much as game that we used to do. We used to eat a lot of animals, but now we mainly eat fish and moose and comment on dit à musc? Beavers. But that's it. We don't eat other games because they don't comment que dit, they don't taste the same because of what they consumed in the forest.
Oh yeah, I remember in the Parc La Vérendrye, the Algonquin, some Algonquin's elder told me that they could not eat the liver of the moose, because since the opening of the smelter in Noranda, the liver of the moose was affected by the pollution, the air pollution. And they are far from going around, right? So this is really a drama for the nations. So I think Roxann is with us now.
Hi.
Go ahead, Roxann.
Gwe, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to our podcast. So we have started, and everybody is now happy to see you. So be very welcome on Adadigan Street, which is the name of our humble and familial podcast. And do you know Alexandre? Is it?
I believe we met in the past.
We've met a few times through the festival.
Yeah, wonderful. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So usually we ask the guest to the person to present himself or herself to the auditor of the podcast, and after that we have our conversation.
Okay, great. Well, Segu Sewagwegu. My name is Roxann Whitebean, and I am a writer, director, and producer from the Mohawk Territory of Kahnawà.
It's when I look at all your accomplishment and the films you directed, the TV series, and I am amazed how it has been a very productive years, those last 10 years, I would say. And but I remember also when you started as a young filmmaker, and when I was looking at this, the title of another Mohawk directors came in my mind. It is the Shalini Rose film. It starts with a whisper, and I would like to know how it started for you, because well, you are from a very creative and artistic and culturally involved community, but this is obviously a road that you have chosen at the moment, and how a young Mohawk girl decide once in her life, I will be an artist, and I will be an artist in the cinema, television, and the audiovisual work I will do.
So back when I first started, I had a decision to make. I was planning on going to Concordia University because I wanted to expand my knowledge on the work that I was already doing. And so before entering the film industry, I worked as a family support worker with special needs individuals for 6.5 years. And that was with social services in Kahnawà on the reserve. And I wanted to go back to school for psychology, but I wrote a poetic allegory, which is about the 1990 Oka crisis from the perception of a child. And I entered it into a few contests, and it did really well. And I spoke to a few artist friends, and they said, I think you have something there. And I think that because our people are natural storytellers, I think you should try to lean into this part of who you are and your creativity, because I think you have what it takes to make a career in this industry. And I thought about it, and I just thought, this is never going to happen. I'm never going to take off. Like, I am not, thinking of being a film director and writing movies and seeing it on the big screen was just something I didn't think was attainable for myself as a young Indigenous woman. And so I decided to wear my heart on my sleeve, and I said, you know what? School will always be there. I have my career as a family support worker, and if it doesn't work out in the film industry, well, at least I tried. And so I went for it. I wrote a Canada Council for the Arts grant. I received $20,000 to write, direct, and produce my first short film. I really had no idea what I was doing at the time. But surprisingly, the film did well. And when you watch it, you could see that I wasn't quite there yet as a director, but the story was there, and you could feel the heart and soul through the film, because a lot of the people who performed in that film are people who experienced the 1990 Oka crisis, or they're the children of like the quote unquote survivors of the 1990 Oka crisis. And so we just worked really hard together.
What was the title of the film? I don't remember.
It's called Legend of the Storm, and it actually played at your film festival. So my very first little film that I ever did played at the Montreal First Peoples Film Festival, and that really encouraged me. And from there, you know, it played at Imaginative, and I got to network with so many people. And then from there, I said, you know what, I think I want to try making another film, and I'm going to write another grant. And if it doesn't work out, well, I'll go back to school. And so here we are 10 years later. And it's been a really exciting journey. So yeah, I am currently working on getting my first feature-length scripted narrative off the ground. And it's a romantic comedy. So it's something completely different than what I've ever done, you know, in the past, because I've been working on a lot of documentary, but I wanted to get back to my roots of, you know, working on scripted narratives. And I really love the story. And I think it's important for me anyway, as an artist, to work on self-care and to not always immerse myself in the traumatic stories of our people, and not saying that they're not important. It's just the majority of my work has focused on intergenerational trauma. And the only film that I have out there that doesn't look at any of that is called Little Hard Knocks, which I wrote, directed, and produced for the CBC several years ago. I believe it's still up on their digital platform. But yeah, so the romantic comedy is called Roots in Urban Boy. And it's about like a traditional Haudenosaunee woman who meets an urban Ojibwe guy when she goes away to college, and they fall in love and get engaged. And so she has to bring him home to meet the family. It's a really fun and light story, and I'm really excited about it. Things are moving along nicely, and you know, we have our first draft, and yeah, so lots of work is happening for that right now.
Yeah. I know you have worked with Tracy Deer, and Tracy Deer, I remember her first films were about Mohawk girls, Club Native. It was documentary on very serious issue in the community. And then when the title Mohawk Girls came to the TV series, it was a funny and very wise series, and it was brand new in do you think you follow the same curve, starting from more serious to romantic and funny?
I can't really say that I'm following the same career path as Tracy, because when I started on Mohawk Girls, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to work as an apprentice. I did a 1-year apprenticeship training program through the Akwesasne Area Management Board. And so I was very fortunate to be selected to work as an apprentice on the TV show Mohawk Girls, which gave me informal training in the industry, and it really did help me launch my career. But within that year, I definitely paid my dues, and I think this is something that a lot of young artists have to do. When you first start, you're non-union, and you have to train, and you have to work hard, and you have to be a yes person, and you have to prove yourself. But when that 1-year apprenticeship training was over, I ended up being hired as a trainee assistant director on the show. And then I had shot my first short film, Legend of the Storm. And then from there, I decided that I just wanted to like break off and do my own thing, because I didn't want to be trainee. I did not want to be an assistant director. I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to be a writer, and I wanted to be a director. And although it was very scary to take those steps and enter the film industry as a solo artist, completely unknown. I was actually called a no-name artist several times. And when I look back, I'm like, that was very humbling. But I worked very, very hard. And I am definitely planning on returning to telling, the intergenerational trauma and those traumatic stories of our people, because I think they're very important. They do need to be documented, especially by the people who are still with us today. I mean, having the survivors sit in front of the camera and tell their stories for the future generations is something that we didn't have from our ancestors. And so I take that job very seriously. But yeah, I've been an independent artist, and I haven't been working with Tracy for about 7 years now.
So we can give a tribute to Tracy. She has been a trailblazer, and she has opened doors for many Aboriginal artists in general, and certainly for women in the cinema industry. And but you are there to you were there to take your first step and then have your own story told. And also, one of the trauma you have to fight with is the cancer. It was terrible. You were just coming into the industry, beginning to be recognized, many opportunities in front of you, and all of a sudden you had to fight the cancer, and it has influenced your work after that. Can you speak about it a little?
Yeah, so right before I started shooting Legend of the Storm, I realized that I was probably sick and that it was very, very very serious. And shortly after we wrapped, I was diagnosed with advanced stage breast cancer. And I had just turned 30 years old. And it was devastating because I had very young children. And I honestly didn't think that I was going to survive. To be honest, I did not think I was going to survive. We had no idea how long I had it for. I do know that it was due to environmental. It was environmental, and I was, exposed to toxins when I lived in Akwesasne, and they have very high rates of cancer. And I lived in the community for 11 years. I went to high school there. And, a lot of people aren't as fortunate as I have been to survive. And today our community is mourning a very young, beautiful soul named Susie McGregor, who just lost her life to the disease. So, if I could honor anyone today, I would like it to be Susie. But I wanted to document my journey because I didn't think I was going to survive at the time. And I just wanted to have something for my children to be able to look back on. And so I started documenting, the hair project, because my hair, that's what it was initially called. My hair was very long. Fortunately, it grew back now. It's, down to my lower back. And this is how long it was when I got diagnosed. And so it was like, I went to a private clinic. I paid for the test, and I was diagnosed, and it was like within a month I had started treatment and all of my hair fell out. And I battled that illness. I just had my final surgery last summer. So I battled it for the duration of my career. There were times where I was on set shooting things post-surgery, and I didn't tell my producers because I was afraid that I wouldn't be hired. I'm not trying to say anything bad about them, but I know that they would be concerned and say, "Are you sure you can do this?" And so I definitely minimized what I was dealing with for the sake of being able to find employment. And that's all on me. That's not on the producers whatsoever. They've been very supportive and wonderful to me, all of the producers I've worked with. But during the midst of my cancer battle, I also became a single mother. And so I had to take care of my children and myself and work and push to build my career. And, I've earned this place where I'm at, and I have so much further to go, and I definitely want to continue a career in the arts. So I'm going to keep pushing, and hopefully one day I can meet my goal, which is to be a showrunner, be a DGC director, who's out there making Hollywood films. So yeah, I have really big dreams.
Yeah, we can dream today. We just mentioned that a young Catherine Boivin, a young Atikamekw filmmaker, has now a short at the Cannes Film Festival. So really the ground is clearer in front of us for the Aboriginal artists that want to follow up in a career. And also you have had this beautiful series on APTN where you have Pulse, where you have, and I like the title, Pulse. I think it's very emblematic also of your inner energy that gives you the possibility to go over all the difficulty you have. And you portray a lot of accomplished artists in that series, and I recommend to everybody to go through internet. I think we can see it on through the APTN website. And can you speak about this series and all the persons you met and you have known better during that production?
Yes. So the TV show Pulse was produced by Niche Media. Jason Brennan is the producer, but the show was created by his wife, Sonia Bonspill-Boileau, and she ended up getting busy, and she started working on another show, and so we were very lucky to be hired as writers and directors. I believe there were 4 writers and directors of the entire series, and I directed the episode with Ivany as well as Soleil. And so those were very artistic and very interesting to shoot. I loved being in the studio because there's the whole documentary aspect, but then it's more like a variety show because they had live performances that were shot in studio on a location in Ottawa. So that was really wonderful to partake in.
Yes, we recently have had the Soleil Launière who is one of the artists you work with at this podcast, and she's going to have a child, and at the same time she is preparing to have a concert, a brand new concert and an album. So that's interesting to see how and you work also how the Aboriginal women are strong. I am really, really impressed by all this creative energy to have a child and have the responsibility of a family, and also have a career and a very demanding career in the field of the TV and the cinema. It's really, I am blessed by this, all this strength you have. You also, you didn't do the one with Barbara Daibo with a fellow Kahnawà artist?
No, I can't remember who shot that one because we were really busy, and I think I was shooting Pulse while I was in pre-production for my film Rose, which played at the Montreal First Peoples Film Festival last year. And, I had to write the episodes of Pulse and direct them and then edit them. And then it was like all hands on deck for Rose. And so I was just extremely busy shooting that, doing revisions. And I believe I just came out of the SkyMed writing room. So yeah, it was a really busy spring last year.
Yeah, it was. I looked up on IMDb. It was Courtney Montour that did the writing and directing of this episode.
Of Barbara Dybel. Yeah, Courtney's so great.
Yes.
Her and I we worked on a film called Flat Rocks together, which did really well. And it was about the seaway expropriation in Kahnawà. And she's doing wonderful, wonderful things. I'm so happy for her. And it's nice to see her career taking off. So yeah, although Kahnawà is a small community, we have maybe about 5 to 6 filmmakers that I can think of. There's Ganyet Dio Horn, Gawanahare, Devery Jacobs, myself, Courtney Rice, Brittany LeBourne, Tracy Deer, and Angie Pepper Obamswin. So there's quite a few of us, and mostly women. I believe that we do have a few male emerging artists, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Do you think the matriarchal tradition of the Mohawk Nation is also behind the fact that the women are so upfront in Kahnawà? You are now the chief is a woman. The great chief also is a woman at the council.
Yeah, the Grand Chief of the elective council is a woman, but within our traditional political structure, there's definitely a balance between the men and women. And so we have, the male chiefs and clan mothers, and the people and the clans and the leaders of the families are the ones who really, help the people as representatives within our nation. So yeah, it's really beautiful. But I think that, as women, we kind of group together because we've all worked together at one point or another. And we just, went our own ways. Like Gawanahare is off in Hollywood now. I'm super excited for her for that. And the same thing with Ganyet Dio. She paved her own way into Hollywood, and now she's, beginning her career. I would say she's probably a mid-career artist as a writer and director behind the camera. And so yeah, it's been really great seeing everyone's progress and just seeing how things are changing. And Indigenous stories are definitely at the forefront, and people are listening to us now, so it's like the perfect time to get into the industry because we have more supports and funding available.
There's more demand too. I know that some professionals are starting to refuse contracts because they're so busy with other contracts. I see that with Kasiwi Media, Niche Media, they all so very busy with their projects.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's true. And I'm a little concerned right now with the current strike that's going on with the Writers Guild of America. And, I'm just paying attention to all of that and, keeping an eye on their progress, because whatever happens, in one portion of the industry trickles down to the rest of us. And so, yeah, but it's definitely a great time for Indigenous storytellers, and we have so many stories to tell. And I truly feel like there's enough room for everyone in this industry. I'm not in competition with anyone in any shape or form. I feel like the stories that we all have to share are very important. And so I support everyone.
When I look at Rose, I think it's the last film I saw from you, Rose, and also the films you have made about the impact of the Oka crisis. I don't like this term. I would say like the Alexandre, the SQ crisis. Do you think the narration and especially the narrative beyond the film can help to go over the trauma? The trauma, of course, of the invasion and the attack against the Mohawk nations by the SQ and the Canadian Army, and also the trauma in Rose of the children that have been taken away from their mother, and something you can certainly, as a mother, strongly relate to this kind of trauma. Do you think the narrative can help to heal the wounds that have been left?
Well, I've noticed a pattern with myself as an artist. I've noticed that I draw a lot of my inspiration from lived experience. And, you know, my mother, Rose was inspired by my mother's birth story. And so these women in my family, my great aunt Nancy Daibo and my great grandmother Anna Jacobs Daibo, they worked very hard to have my mother return to the community. And my great grandmother could not speak English at all. She only spoke Kanyageha. And so it was amazing to think that these women were successful in having my mother return to our community before she was 1 year old, especially in the midst of the 1960s scoop. And the fact that, you know, my grandmother Anna, who wanted to raise my mother, was widowed, and they lived right across the street from the Indian agent. And so I wanted to be able to honor them in some way, but I also made the film because with the research I was doing, I realized that we're still missing a lot of people. A lot of those children who were taken away are still missing. And so I wanted to be able to make a film that would draw attention to that. And just, show a film about the 60s scoop in general, because I haven't seen many scripted narratives about the 60s scoop. And so it was cathartic. And what was really sad is, like, my Aunt Nancy, the woman who saved my mother, was supposed to play the role of Anna in the film, but she passed away 6 weeks before we started filming. So we had to recast. And I'm very happy with the woman who portrayed Anna, my grandmother. She is a first language Mohawk speaker, and I found her in Akwesasne through the Dreamcatcher studio, and her name is Gazewayan Peters, and she just did a really amazing job. It was her first role, and she was a natural, and I definitely feel like she has the potential to keep going because she did such an amazing job. So yeah.
I suppose also you have a special touch to direct the comedians, the actors, because I saw that you even had Dirty Macumber in one of your film, and I don't know how you can manage to direct this beautiful but not so easy character.
Yeah, well, Dirt is a really wonderful guy. Like, he has a rough, shell, but inside he's a very sweet human being. And I know Dirt because we're both from Kahnawà. I told him what the film was about, and he understood. And I talked to him what his role was, and he took it very seriously. And he was a pleasure to work with. and I would work with dirt again. And that, I believe that was his first speaking role as well. And he did such a good job. He improvised and it went well.
Yes, of course. I remember, of course, the documentary that was made about him, but also his role in your film, and he was good, actually, obviously. Also, I don't know if you think about a dramatic TV series on Netflix, maybe, because I have read an article recently, and they say that the indigenous narrative has taken its Hollywood revenge when we see a series like Reserve Dogs and Reservation Dogs, and I was thinking that this is a path that could be interesting also to with the series we can have a longer time to tell story. And I was wondering if it is something you look forward to realize.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my goals and dreams to be able to work on a television series as a writer and director. And I'm definitely working towards achieving that goal. And I do have an idea, but it's in pre-development right now. And so I'm focusing on my feature romantic comedy. But it's something I would really love to do, and something that I'm working towards, because you have to have a great deal of experience. And when you look at a lot of the artists who are doing that work, they have many, many years in the industry. They have multiple feature films that have done very well in the film festival circuit, and, projects that have won multiple awards, and big budgets. And so, I'm a few steps away from that, but I'm going to keep working, and hopefully it happens one day. I believe it will. I hope so.
We strongly believe too that it will happen to you. We see your strength, we see your energy, we see all the efforts and the enthusiasm you put in your project, and I am sure that we will have several Roxann Whitebean's work to screen in the future, and we will proud to show them to the public, because you have accomplished with. I know it was not easy. It's not easy for nobody, but especially for you, it has not been an easy path. But you have do it, and now you are an established filmmakers, and the best is still in front of you. So it's
Thank
fantastic.
You.
So
that's
it was
very encouraging.
So Alexandre, do you have something to add, or?
No, good day. I think I have nothing to say. It was very interesting for this podcast. So I'm grateful that you're being with us.
Thank you for having me on the show. Yawa.
Nyawa, and also go on the Google Roxann Whitebean, and you will find the way to look at the work she did. And I think everybody interested in indigenous culture has to know better all the films you have done, and it's a way also to get prepared to what's coming up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyway, so I guess we'll see next week. We'll see us next week.
Yep, next week, each Wednesday at noon for Adadigan Street.
Bye.